Greetings to you out there and here and everywhere. I'm your host, Majesty, and this is another session of Majesty's music lesson. Hope you're feeling irie and everything is evoluting in a positive manner. Well, greetings to you right here in Guyana once again. Another Sunday, here we are, trying to get things corrected in Guyana. Now, that's one of the main reasons why I do this program, because a lot of things have to be corrected, because memory is a problem in Guyana, and correction is something that is there to make sure or to ensure that things are in the right order. When it's not going quite the way it's supposed to go, you're allowed to correct it. And from that, you would learn that the ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure, because you have to stop and correct what you're doing. Unlike driving, well, life is the same way. It's like driving. Something comes in front of your path, you have to stop, you have to swerve out, you have to correct. You see a pedestrian or anything in your path, you have to correct your steering wheel. You have to turn out, you can't just drive one way. So driving takes intelligence. Everything takes intelligence if you want to avoid tragedy, disaster. So this is why I do this program. Unfortunately, we have gone into a period where people do not listen. And people think they can do just whatever they feel, regardless. Well, now that we have gone into a period, the world has gone into a period from some time, even from just after creation, according to the scriptures. So we always have to be correcting. And that is the saddest part about things. People don't like to be corrected. But the earth is made for perfection, and to achieve that, you have to have correction. Else, the world will have sheer disasters, which was never the intention. Now, that's where ignorance is our worst enemy. And children are excused from a certain amount of ignorance because they're thinking as a child. And it's expected that when someone grows beyond 16, 18, that at least by then. But in my time in coming up, by age 11, you are expected to start to operate as if you are a young man on the way to being a man. For after 11, 12, you reach 13, and you are a teenager. You start to do, or you're thinking of doing adult things, because it's right around the corner. So we here in Guyana are suffering from a real serious immaturity, because when you continue to adopt ignorance, it means you are returning to the state of childhood, kindergarten. And it's really sad in Guyana right now, because lots of people have to be making statements, writing. You can tell they're frustrated. Those who are thinking of perfection are totally and absolutely frustrated. because we're 50 years and we're more mixed up than ever, and it seems instead of going in the corrective direction, it's more of the same. Now, I do this program because, like I say, things have to be clarified. And that's why I come in front of the people, because if what you're saying cannot pass the general public, then it's not the truth. It's not powerful enough. It's not right enough. The people are the judge. Everyone wants to be their own judge. No. That's not the way the world works. You have to be judged by your peers. That's the way it works. And that's why it doesn't work when there is cook-up, cowboy court, all these kinds of things, a lot of which happens in the United States where it comes to African people, which is always my topic from the beginning of my program. The role that African people, I being an African, is playing and being played too in this world. And it's significant because the African nation went through a serious period that is not compared with any in the world and any other nation. A lot similar things happen to every nation, but not to the extent that it happened to the African nation. Now, this is supposed to be for a purpose of perfection. Why the Creator allowed it? Because evil happens to a lot of innocent people. Children, babies, and the consciousness of man, the same disaster that happened destroy people's consciousness. That's why an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. For after that, you have to get psychologists and all kind of things to bring people back to some kind of consciousness. Now, the African nation has never had no psychological teaching or counseling and all that kind of stuff. We are on our own. That's why it is a real disaster when our own people deal with us, which you have to excuse it to somewhat because they're also suffering from the same thing. And many are not conscious because, like I said, they were not given counseling. Part of the counseling is what I do here because everything, truth is the counselor. The best counsel is truth, which comes from the Father, the originator of truth. And that's why conscious people and wise people stay on that path. First of all, it's easier. Because when you have to deceive, you have to go through all kinds of weird negativity. That's why I don't have a problem when I come on this program. I don't have to study what I'm going to say very much because I already know when I'm speaking the truth. Because you're conscious if you're speaking the truth, and you're conscious if you're a thief. When you're going to steal, it's you and yourself. When you lie, your own consciousness tells you. So if it's one person knows the lie, it's the person that does it. If it's one person knows the thief, it's the person that does it. So you cannot escape yourself, right? So we here in Guyana, and Africans particularly, are suffering from that. So that is why they need clarification. And unfortunately, we do not have a separate council of people who are documenting the truths of Guyana. When will we have this? I don't know. African people need a group of people documenting these consciousness to say this is what the African nation knows. Our consciousness. If we can have a Guyana one, let's get the people who are going to document our accepted consciousness. You still have to face the world public. Indian people can have people documenting their consciousness and truths. You still have to face the world public. So no one can really escape. Europeans can't escape. They route so much false information, but they can't escape, right? Because that is part of what brought me here, because a lot of the attacks were against Africans, or most of the attacks. Africans. And here in Guyana now, I was looking at a piece of a newspaper, today's Kaichur. And there's an editorial concerning Guyana. And it says the fact, it speaks of the PNC and the PPP. And it's monitoring or commenting on what this coalition is doing, right, compared to what they did. My problem is that persons continue to speak. That's why I speak about someone documenting the truth. Everyone knows there was, for example, everyone knows there was a war between riots or whatever between African and Indian people in 1962. Africans will admit it and Indians will admit it. The newspapers will tell you. England will tell you, as they were the colonial rulers. Now, who right, who wrong, and all of that, that is now depends on who's speaking, right? But the facts are the facts. Whose fault and how it started is the reasoning. But certain facts about it are real and cannot be hidden. And this is why the archives of the newspapers, even though they have faults also, and there are various papers, journalists keep claiming, and newspapers keep claiming that their journalists are speaking the truth, or they present it as if it's the truth. And I'm referring to this because the article said that basically that the PNC and the PPP, 28 years of the PNC firstly it spoke about, and then 23 years of the PPP. Now, the part I have a problem with is that they said that they were both corrupt. They both had lots of corruption, right? And neither of them diversified the economy or like did anything for the people. And that is what I have a problem with. Because I know for the 19 years of independence, I was here and as a student in school. And there was lots of diversification. I don't know how journalists are writing still to this day anything would they feel like doing. I'm saying there must be some clear information on certain things. Now, there was not diversification. I have the national exhibition here in front of me. This is so old and tattered when we had the national exhibition. This is 1980, right? sold and tattered, right? But this is what the image of the exhibition booklet looked like. Sorry, I had it upside down. National exhibition, right? Sophia, right? This is it here. So in it, it has a list of all the companies that were there. And it included Greco, it included Ainlim with a tapir, and it had private and public people. So I don't understand. Well, till today, we're claiming that everything is the same. Everything was not the same. You have to be accurate with history, else it's not history. For example, list of exhibitors and buildings. Manufacturing, industrial. This is 1918 National Exhibition. List of exhibitors and buildings. Manufacturing, industrial. Omo's Enterprise. If I think I can remember, they used to make nut butter. I think so. Amitara Manufacturing Company. Tai Chi Foods. Brianna Manufacturing Company. That used to make our shirts and clothing. And Short Jack, I think, if I can remember. HCK Printers, Herbert Edwards, Eustace John, Uninational Ribbons Limited, JP Santos, Lito Neckwear, Jaguar Shoe Enterprise, Whitman Richter, Continental Agencies. Yeah, the WRSM, they were exhibitors also. They didn't say what they were making, but we know they did a lot of stuff. L.J. Williams, P.R. Sampson and Son. I think they either made shoes or imported shoes. Brass Aluminum Cast Iron Foundry. GRL, Guyana Refrigerators Limited. Guyana Liquor Corporation. Squirrel Manufacturing Company. I think I remember they made jams and jellies and other stuff. Sonata Textile, well, you know that is where our cotton was made into cloth. Geister Group number 1, Batter Shoe Stores Limited, their shoes. Guyana Timbers Limited, Guyana Mining Enterprise, Guyana National Engineering Corporation, Ricks and Sari Limited. Well, GNEC, that had to do with our shipping. And I have a picture in a book with our first bauxite boat made of sheer bauxite. It was a flat bottom boat, a large boat, a fairly large boat. High, you had to look up if you were on the ground. And it's a flat bottom because it was to go up the rivers. I don't know what happened to that boat after Burnham, which was 5 years later. Ricks and Sari Limited, Nagasar Saw, House of Israel, Pharmaceutical, Chemical, Food Processing and Allied Group, Guyana Marketing Corporation, Associated Industries, Singer Corporation, Singer Company, Martinez Boutique, Guyana Fisheries, Greater Georgetown Fishermen's Co-op, Guyana Gadraj, Nishimo Company, Fisheries Division, Ministry of Agriculture, Opal Koi, Crystal Wax Works, Bettingcoat Bag Factory. Then you got to General Services. Oh, Solo Power. Greco. Greco did our radio and stereo. Ministry of Health, including Diabetic Association and Municipality Georgetown. Guyana Telecommunications Corporation, Guyana Electricity Corporation, Ministry of Information, People's Bookshop, Guyana Defense Force, Metrication Unit, Guyana National Service Block, Guyana Police Force, Guyana Airways Corporation, GAC, our own airline, doing interior. Guyana National Lithographic Corporation, Guyana Shipping Corporation, Transport and Harbor, Housing, Guyana Transport Services Limited, Fire Service, Guyana Printers, Guyana Prison Service, Raja Yoga, Development Projects, Ministry of Works, Roads and Bridges, Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources, Hydropower, Lands and Surveys, Hydraulics Division, MMA ADA. There's Mahaika Myconia Barry. Agriculture and Agro Industries, Ministry of Agriculture, Prisons, Police, Guyana National Service, Knowledge Sharing Institute, KSI, LIDCO, Guyana Defense Force, Guyana Police Force, Regions, Guyana Rice Board, GAISUCO, LIDCO, Arts and Craft, Division of Craft Production, GAICraft, Guyana Art and Craft, Lama Craft, Ministry of National Development, Ivan Forrester, Philip Moore, Burroughs School of Art, Women's Revolutionary Social Movement, Guyana Federation of Women's Institute, Leela Locke, K&P Enterprise, Coffee's Ideological Institute, Youth Division, Ministry of National Development, Guyana Nurses Association, Schools Craft, Ministry of Education, Police, Prisons, Guyana National Service, The Flower Shop, Guyana Defense Force, Gibbs and Son, House of Israel, Ministry of National Development, House Proud, Unification Church, Z-Can Leather Works, a block of individuals, which in 10 of them, Iris Leach, Girl Guide, George Neblett, Marva Kroll, Marjorie Owen Mariah, Utalia Griffith, Eston Bernard, Edgar Corbin, Penelope Critchlow, Winifred Douglas, Lynette Sandiford. Region 8. Education, Vocational Training, Government Technical Institute, New Amsterdam Technical Institute, Government Industrial Training Center, Adult Education Association, University of Guyana, Extramural, Ministry of Education, Souvenir Gift Shop, right? Coordinating and Planning Committee, Comrade Olga Britton, Chairman, Joseph McLeod, Coordinator, Alvin Harry, Member, and there are a list of other members. Now, that's the list of exhibitors and buildings at that exhibition. So, we have to correct our history and accept the facts. And that is what I want to start to deal with, right? That's what I mentioned about that. I know we were diversified. And I think it was Guyana Marketing Corporation who did I'm not certain, but we know we had Canyon, Guyana, Guycan orange juice, Guycan pineapple juice, Guycan pineapple chunks. We made our own sausage, those big fat salami sausage, right? Chicken sausage. We had Sunbell ham, Sunbell products, right? Sunbell bacon in packets. We did our fruits, right? To replace currants and raisins. Everyone loved it. Who know about cake making, and people still use it today. Those who make it themselves, right? That's when we made our own saltfish, we made our own pigtail, we started curing our own stuff. Everything a whole heap of things that we imported. So, I don't understand how still today we could say we never diversified, both PNC and PPP. I know about that early time. I don't know about Mr. Hyde 7 years. But I know about that time, and these things are what we should have done and continue. China came, and now China produces a whole heap of stuff. Obviously, at that time, they were now doing getting their internal production, state companies together. They still have state companies today, I would never allow anyone to tell me I shouldn't do this when it's working for me. And this is what Europeans do all the time. They come and direct, right up to now, they come directing our policies. I see some framework for the next 5 years with UN. These people have failed the world. It's the same European colonialists who run the UN and run its programs and this kind of stuff. Now, why are we still following Westminster as if they're okay? Did Westminster do good for us? We are in this case because of Westminster. Is their governmental system good? Westminster government was strictly to rob the people. They're old pirates, and the policy they bring is always to rob the people. The IMF policy is the policy of Westminster. They would bring 16% VAT. Only they would do that. And I will allow that. So, as long as we follow in Westminster, the people are not going away. Westminster policies throughout the centuries is to rob the people and have a large section of manual labor. This is their policy. Cheap labor is their policy. That's how they got rich. It's not making a society. Why are we admiring their society built on cheap labor? And that's what they're still promoting. Why are we promoting profit making? Nothing for the people. Profit making we promoting. Then we got a whole big police force. Look at the more because we got a whole large amount of crime. And we say we read in Bible and we're our brother's keeper. And we say government is for the people, of the people, for the people. Following European governments, you could never be by the people and for the people and of the people. Their government is strictly to rob the people. They are old pirates. Marley told you over and over. Old pirates, yes, they robbed I. Sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit. That's in the bottom of the ship. They sold I. All we want to do is merchant trade. But is it for us? No. We have to get our own merchant ships, like Marcus Garvey. We are not doing anything for ourselves. We are doing for other people what they tell us. The international community is a fraud. That's why the world of wars all over. Who the international community stops America from doing anything that they do? Why do you think Trump could behave like he is? All they do is build arms. Because their way of life has always been to rob people. Till to this day. Most of our oil will be robbed. They probably will bring some. We don't have the intellect, the knowledge of the people to manage no oil. They refuel planes in the air. They can bring some submarines, and they could tanker submarines and suck out half or 3/4 of a oil. You got to do things when you're ready. If you're not ready, don't go into battle, because it's a war. Now, the teachings of Boredom was cast aside by Mr. Hyde. This is why the PNC does not admit its errors, because it was Mr. Hyde who really destroyed that program on guidance from the international monetary people in order to borrow money, because he was taught that country is run from profit. Country is run on funding. That's what it's running. And they try to make you believe that if you don't get funding from them, you won't progress. But you have to learn to bear your chief, because your enemies will not do you right. They lend you money with a direction that they take you where your money is wasted and you don't make the progress after 10, 15, 20 years. So we are not learning. Now we have a better world. China just built 5, 6 banks. We have to learn to stand our own 2 feet, else you will not be a man. And so unfortunate what Mr. Hyde did. He brought us back to kindergarten, like I was telling you. When we were 11, you're going to 13, and you're going to be a man, which means stand on your own 2 feet. If you become immature, that means you're going back to kindergarten where people got to look after you. And the other history about Burnham, and I have to say this to Indian people and everybody else who talk about Burnham. If you are not dealing with democracy, why should I be dealing with democracy? 1962, there was a war. At the time that Burnham came to power, Indians was in one corner, African people was in one corner. That's a fact. What was being spoken was a Punjab. I read an article where a person said it wasn't Mr. Jagan who started that. It was another smaller party in about 57 or 62 who uttered that word, but it became the mantra of the PPP anyway. That's a fact. This is what I see and saw as a youngster written all along the seawall and at culverts when you go in the country and wherever. Now, a Punjab does not mean democracy. So if you're not dealing with democracy, why would I put you in power and expect democracy? You have to denounce and clear your way. Else, it's no fault of mine. If you're aggressive towards me all the time, I will always be on my guard. If you come and say, man, let's shake hands, man, you know, I want to be fair, and that's what democracy means. At least most people tell themselves they're on democracy. You're not on democracy until you denounce a Punjab. That's the facts of the matter. When I come here, I deal with the facts in front of every nation face, you know. So people bring their own self to disaster. And that's the reason why you were out for 28 years. You cannot have it both ways. It was an error to say that, because people are hearing, people are listening. It's just like Europeans. That's why I come and say what I say. Because they have books telling this with black people, but this, but that, but that. You used to lynch black people. What you want Mr. Farrakhan to say, that's why people can't tell me nothing but the nation of Islam is the best set of black African people in America. The ones I could trust the most, the Nation of Islam. You want to check Martin Luther King, hear what he said? No one can win history, especially with me, because I deal with evidence and reference. Because comparison is the art of intellect. And this is why you have to refer from one part to the next. And when you come and speak and you want to talk, this is a time of clarity, this is a time of truth in the world. That's why with Trump, from beginning, I told people, that's the real American. There's the Americans that made America. They're the majority of Europeans. They vote for the Republicans. Without African people, Democrats ain't going. Democrats is they what? They're the make-believe Americans, the Democrats. Because they come to make you believe that America is a good place. America's never been a good place. You'll be shocked if people run down the history of America and the interventions and the killings and the murders. I was just looking at one in Panama and see how many African people they killed. One day I'll show you. Because everything is documented. Now, I want to go to Rastafari in this country, which is another history. And so I went in the archives and I went to look at 1972, Carrie Festa. I will put it on a flash drive and get to show you. And 1st of September 1972, that paper began a graphic at where Prime Minister says, a regional approach to culture at West Indian Summit, right? PM to urge regional approach to culture at Dubai Summit. Artists told, think as a Caribbean nation. Then it goes on with another part in the papers, speaks about Rastas on EC. This is count as in the mystical revelation of Rastafari, you know, that came here representing Jamaica for Carrie Festa. And this is saying, the mystic revelation of Rastafari of Jamaica, along with artists from St. Kitts who are here taking part in Carrie Festa, will entertain residents at Buxton Friendship Government School, East Demerara, at 7 tonight. Right? That's Ghana Papers. I wasn't Rasta yet, you know. Then another article says, Love It Is. That's the headline on the front page. Right? And it shows you some of the troop. Right? Then another article said, oh, a part of a little caption in that same article says, man is God and God is man. That's a part in that article headline in that. Another part of the itinerary which shows that they will be playing at the Culture Center, counting the mystical revelations of Rastafari. So 1972, then another with a picture of them. This is the Chronicle now, that was the graphic, says, Rastas are here. That's 1972. I wasn't thinking of Rasta, I still in school. So, for African people today in Guyana to not know about Rastafari, which is a Caribbean phenomenon, and now, at that time, and now a worldwide phenomenon. This is why I said we got to get power. Because the last two parties, which is the PPP, which is stand for Mr. Hyde, Burnham was giving power to the people. He wanted them to rule their community. He told them, own and control your resources. When Mr. Hyde came, Burnham received the country where they had the law in the books with 6 months. But Burnham dealt with Rasta, because obviously he was looking to see that what these people going to do, right? Now, because Rastas were arrested in the park once, because one person was smoking and a policeman tried to carry him off, a youngster, and people hold his hand and he couldn't carry him, and the police went and came back with plenty more, because it was just one policeman patrolling the park. He came with more in the park. Rastas had gotten the park to use, electricity, everything. We had a band, it was Selassie Day. We got the stand, one stand, and the electricity, and we had a string band there. And they come back and assaulted people and locked up everyone, which is like about 30 people who were in all these different police stations, some in Albertown, some Brickdam, some Le Penningtons, probably even tilted to Mary and Providence and to Mary. So after the 3 days and they came out and they studying if to charge or what. People decide, because it was so much, it was a force. Ones got together after and said, hey man, let me go to Burnham. And a delegation of, I think, 6 went to Burnham. And one person there told me, it went like this, where Burnham said, he called someone and said, the incident with those rastas, I guess it's some police, somebody, throw that out. And the person was protesting. And Burnham said, I don't know what he was saying, but could be the saying, man, those rastas were wanting to fight the police or the beating of the or something. Burnham said, comrade, you heard what I said? Boom. He didn't even wait for answer after that. And then he said, what y'all want? He didn't ask him no ganja and all of that. Marijuana. That's what it was all about. They sell land. And that's how Rastas got land. They already had North Fork. Rastas got land. There's another set now. The first set had got North Fork. There's another set now. They got over the Comoni Creek. Now, that was like 78. And the next thing, I haven't found it yet, but I got to find it, where the first group that came to this country, Rasta, it was Third World. I got to go and look for it. Brought by the Ministry of Culture and Sport, Miss Shirley Field Ridley, and the Ministry of Culture. And they played at Sports Hall. The government brought them here. So, under Burnham, there was a different outlook. Other persons testify of being at a meeting in a lodge, where it was called for the community, Rastas were there, and Mr. Hamilton Green had to tell the rest of the people, because they weren't saying nothing. Because what y'all want? He had to tell them, you hear what the Rastas say? It's land, they want land. This Mr. Green got to tell the rest of them, because they ain't saying they want land. So, Rastas here is a conscious force from long time. And due to that, as my time is winding down, I want to deal with this thing once again. Do I have to throw this Bible away? What do you think I should do? Why I'm saying that? And I got to stop using the word marijuana for the time being. I got to use the word hemp. I think for us in Guyana, we need to use the word hemp. You understand? So we could understand what we're talking about. Anyway, I'm going to start in the beginning. God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void. And darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God said, and God saw the light that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the water called he seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. So we see there was no hemp on the earth first when God made the firmament and divided the waters and what. And then God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. There was no hemp. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed is in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. Until today, it's good. Mr. Granger, the judges, the people have been made mad. Guyana has lost its common sense. Black people have lost their common sense. All this need to be thrown in the garbage. I certainly understand English language. That's why I could even bring the dictionary and read about that, where it tells you it shall increase prices on the consumer. I had to read it for the PPP, because they were telling me that it would not increase prices. So I had to bring Mr. Webster to talk to them, Mr. Webster Dictionary. Similarly here, how can African people get together when we don't even have one common sense anymore? The judges don't have common sense. The ministers of government don't have common sense. Rastad made hemp. How could you lock up a man for something he has nothing to do with? Nothing. Rastas made the hair. I thought it's the Almighty. They got a part we can tell about Almighty made man. Mr. Granger, the white man has teach the world, and the African people included, to have no respect for themselves. That's why a madman like Trump could come and speak what he's saying. Because when you have power, you could run mad. Now, any man that tells me something other than this is playing God. And this is what the white man teach. With power, you can play God. You could lock up people, you could arrest people, you could shoot people, you could do whatever you want to do. Sorry, my time is up. Thanks to Safe TV, thanks to Brother Dominique. I'll see you in the next 2 weeks. I think I gotta throw this away, because something is wrong.